This is part 2 of my video talking about suffering and the things I've gone through. And I want it to be abundantly clear that I recognize the suffering of humanity, the suffering of people currently due to this current administration. So where I left off in part 1 is talking about being laid off out of the blue unexpectedly from General Motors and saying that I knew I was going to retire from GM. What I didn't know is that it would have been against my own will. And that it would have come at age 41. I didn't know that. But that was my path. That was my path. And I could bang my fist on the ground and be angry that this is the path that was put before me. Or I can accept that path and choose to move forward in faith, walking with all of my spirit guides, knowing that I have never been forsaken, even in the moments I thought I was. I haven't been forsaken. I am being guided to what is best for me. So, I had that surgery so I could hold a utensil and feed myself, so I could walk, so I could run again. I struggled to walk up until August 29th, 2024. I struggled to walk. I struggled to hold utensils. I struggled to speak and think because my brain was basically short-circuiting because of how severe the cervical spinal stenosis was. But I had that surgery. And then I applied for jobs, and I applied for 110 different jobs. Not just here in Metro Detroit, but in other states, because I was willing to relocate if I had to. I was desperate because there was so few jobs at that moment. I had 4 interviews, 2 second interviews, and one of those second interviews resulted in a job. And I started on February 3rd. And 3 weeks later, this current administration slapped tariffs on Canada and Mexico. And the company I was working for makes luxury components for seating that no American company makes. And the manufacturing is in Mexico. And I was let go. And they claimed I wasn't doing my job after 3 weeks. I know that it was because of the tariffs. And then more tariffs have been placed on Mexico and placed on China. And this is hitting the automotive industry incredibly hard, which means I am retired. That career that I had in automotive quality is done. I'm not going back to that. At least not in the near future. And I can choose to say I am suffering and that I will never get through this. But that would be ignoring all the other times in my life that I have been through a situation that some would deem sufferable. And I made it out. And I am still here today. I made a successful career out of nothing. And again, I know I would not have been afforded those opportunities if this was not my skin color. And that is always at the forefront of my mind. And that is why I'm very passionate about DEI and being an intersectional feminist. So when I worked at General Motors and I was on the board for our LGBTQ employees at General Motors, I was elected by my peers as the intersectionality chair. And last March, I made sure to do a cross-functional event with GM Women Plus. talking about what it means to be an intersectional feminist and why we cannot exclude our trans brothers and sisters. We cannot. Because if we forget them, cis women, we lose too. And I've talked a lot about this. Prior to me posting a video with a pendulum, I spoke about social justice. And I had 2,000 followers. Those videos are still up. So if you want to hear my perspective on Gaza, on the automotive industry, on Black Lives Matter, if you want to hear any of that, you have to scroll pretty far, but they're there. But I carry that with me in all of those videos with a pendulum now. That is what makes me who I am, is recognizing that people of certain groups that don't look like me have suffered unjustifiably. And it is my job, because of the way I look, it is my job to dismantle that system brick by brick. And when I pick up a pendulum and I give a message, it is rooted in dismantling the white supremacist system. Because even though this is my skin color, I am a woman. And it harms me too. In fact, white supremacy also harms white men. You could chew on that one. White supremacy only protects those that are in power. And if you don't have power, it's not doing nothing for you. Okay? So again, my career, the industry that I work in, is being affected. And that is why I have chosen to start a new career, to align with my soul's mission and what I have come here on earth to do. And I know that now. And so I could choose to sit wholly, fully in this suffering and be depressed and anxious and feel despair. But that's not going to feel good. It never does. Or I can recognize what's in front of me and the path that has been laid out for me, and trust that Spirit is guiding me, and that I'm going to be all right. Everything will always work out for me, because it always does. Even when I think it won't, it does. That's my path. Those are my messages for you. So when I pick up a pendulum and I am giving you a message, know that that is rooted in a woman who has suffered but chosen to rise instead. That I am a woman who has faced so much suffering, but I choose to look on the bright side. I choose to have faith and move forward. Because that's the only way I know how to survive. And so I am teaching you the same. And it comes through my pendulum. It comes through my guides, whether it's Grandpa George, aka Odin, Grammy, aka Hippolyta, Aegon, my Pleiadian loon, aka Barnabas, or any one of my other spirit guides. The message will always be uplifting. That is what I'm about. That is what the Divine Feminine is all about. Go to part 3.